What's up? It's Jimmie Ford Ryan O'Bryan, Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, and online, ESPN You can catch us weekdays from 3 to 6 here on ESPN Evansville 105.3. Back to make our picks for Week 3 in the NFL, the Pigskin Pick'em Challenge, available for you on our website, ESPN You pick the most teams correctly each week. We got some nice local prizes for you, and then at the end of the season during that big game, you get the halftime score and the final score right. You got a shot at 10 grand. So, hey, what's to lose, right? Just a quick recap on how we did last week.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it was not great. I edged Jimmy by one game, but I'm not necessarily all that proud of it. I was an 8-8 record last week. You, sir?
That would make me 7-9.
That would make Jimmy 7-9.
Proud of that, boy.
Just not a good week for either one of us. But hopefully we get things turned around.
Still 20-13 on the season, man. I'm still over 500.
I am 18-14, so I too still over 500 at this point. But we'll look through some of the bigger games this weekend, some of the teams of local interest as we do each week. And let's start with Indianapolis. Those Colts and whatever in the world is going on there in Indianapolis, it has not been pretty. It's been just flat out ugly the first 2 weeks of this season. However, maybe I'm blinded by my fandom. I don't know. I think this is the week they get back on their feet. They go down to Tennessee. They take on a Titans team that defensively is not very good, although Mariota has proven himself to look like a pretty decent quarterback and will just continue to grow. With that said, I still like Indy to win that game.
Indianapolis is right where they need to be right now. Coming out 0-2, they get into conference play. Ooh, it gets easy now for a little while.
AFC South, you suck.
Well, you know, they do. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. But yeah, I'll give this one to Indianapolis as well. They do have a lot of things they got to fix, a lot of things they need to shore up. But Indianapolis wins this game. Tennessee's still a little ways away from competing for that conference, for that division.
I would agree with that. Let's move on to Cincinnati and Baltimore. That is another division game. Baltimore is an 0-2 team right now after losses to Denver and Oakland, a team that I picked to win that division. Cincinnati is looking okay so far this season. Defense is there. Andy Dalton is doing Andy Dalton things, which is, you know, through the regular season, pretty good. I do like Baltimore to win this game, though. It's at home. It is against the division rival, two teams that do not like each other at all. And I think Baltimore comes out with a chip on their shoulder. I think they get the win over Cincy. I
picked Cincinnati to win the division when we went through the teams earlier on the Ford and O'Brien show in the preseason. But I did pick Baltimore to win this game. I had Baltimore and Cincinnati kind of fighting for that division title in the last game of the season. But I did pick Baltimore to win this game at home. And even at 0-2, I pick them even more. I don't see a Baltimore team starting 0-3.
No, I don't think so either. And the two losses were close. You know, it's not like they were blown out of both of them. Oakland got the better of them there at the end. Denver, same way with that interception that was returned for a pick six there in Week 1. St. Louis will take on Pittsburgh. That game's in St. Louis. In St. Louis, that defense is solid. Maybe one of the better front sevens in the league, as we've discussed. And Pittsburgh's defense this year, not so great. A lot of young talent over there still trying to feel their way around, but you've got Ben Roethlisberger, you've got Antonio Brown, you've got a solid running game there in Pittsburgh. I like the Steelers to take the win here in St. Louis.
You can't stop Antonio Brown. I don't care who you are. You're not going to stop him. Le'Veon Bell comes back. He was out the first 2 games. He's back now off his suspension. Like you said, they got D'Angelo Williams, who's proven himself to come in, and between he and Le'Veon, Thunder, Lightning, whatever you want to call them, whatever the phrase is for this season. But I take Pittsburgh as well in this one. I don't think you can stop the Steeler offense.
Let's move over to the Bears. The Bears, they're traveling all the way up to the Northeast to take on an 0-2 Seattle team that I'm sure is not real happy with that, although news comes out that Cam Chancellor will return. So that shores up some of the soft spots in the middle of that defense. And Chicago's also going to be without Jay Cutler. It's the Jimmy Clausen show right now. I suspect they lean on Matt Forte pretty heavily, hopefully, because I have him on my fantasy team. But again, it's against the Seattle defense and a team that is not real thrilled with the fact that they're an 0-2 team. I don't even think this one's much of a game at all. I got Seattle taking this one.
Jimmy Clausen couldn't beat Western Kentucky. So
no
I'll
offense, Western Kentucky.
No, they're a good football team, but Seattle is they're not going 0-3, especially at home, and they're definitely not losing to a Jimmy Clausen ran team. And Clausen came out of Notre Dame, love Notre Dame fans. 90% of them that watch this will say, "No, you're right. He was okay at Notre Dame, but no, he's a backup quarterback. Anybody that gets thrown into the mix like that." You're not going to beat a Seattle team that's angry.
Yeah. For the Peyton Manning fans out there, the next game we'll look at is a Sunday night game as Denver will head over and take on the Detroit Lions, a Detroit Lions team who I think just so many people think you got Calvin Johnson, you got Matthew Stafford. there's been a lot of hope there that things are going to get turned around. And they've not been bad, but I don't know that they've played up to the expectations that were given to them. Without Ndamukong Suh there, that defense has got a gaping hole right there on the front line. And Peyton, we know they are not seeming to need to rely on him quite as heavily to win these games. They've got a really good defense there in Denver. There's some questions with Matthew Stafford. He's dealing with a little bit of an injury there. I like Denver to go 3-0 and get the win in Detroit.
I do too. They are on the road. The game is in Detroit, but I think we all know Peyton's nothing new to play in a dome, so he's okay there. But no, you're right. That defense for Denver is exciting, and they're fun to watch. Offensively, Peyton came back a little bit last week. I think he'll have a good game this week, right around what he had last week, 2-3 touchdowns, about 260, 270. He might even go over 300 for the first time this year, but I take Denver.
Finally, the Monday night game pits Kansas City against Green Bay. That game is in Lambeau, and watching Green Bay play Seattle last week, just Aaron Rodgers, hands down. I know Tom Brady's lighting it up, and he's playing with a chip on his shoulder considering everything that went down over the offseason. But to watch Aaron Rodgers play against Seattle and his ability to move the pocket, keep plays going down the field, and the smarts to throw a ball away and know when it's time to throw a ball away. Kansas City's got a good defense. We've seen it over the first couple of weeks, but I like Green Bay here to win that game on Monday night, and they go 3-0.
Well, I don't even have to.
I know you don't have to even discuss it. You're a Packers fan.
It is Green Bay, and I mean, even if I thought they were going to lose, I'm not going to say they're not, but they're not going to lose this one. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is showing why he's considered one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the league right now. James Jones has stepped his game up immensely. They need Eddie Lacy back. He's still a little bit on a question mark on that ankle, but James Starks is one of the better backup running backs in the league. Defensively, I'm not ready to say Green Bay's going to shut anybody out. But Kansas City is not an offensive powerhouse.
Right.
So, in Green Bay at Lambeau, that ain't happening.
That's our picks for some of the teams of local interest, some of the bigger matchups for this week number 3 in the NFL. Don't forget, make your picks on our website, ESPN.evansville.com, for the chance to win some nice prizes. It is the Pigskin Pick'em Challenge. He's Jimmie Ford. I'm Ryan O'Brien. Check us out every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6, the Ford and O'Brien Show on ESPN Evansville 105.3 and ESPNEvansville.com.
Bye-bye now.